this debt, this destruction.
Global news impacts us.
We have to change the way we live. This is why we need independent media.
Hey everyone, my name is Kit. Welcome to another episode of Hard Lens Media. We got a lot to talk about. A lot's been going on over the weekend. And of course, as always, we are so grateful to have all of you here with us, joining us on this show. Hard Lens Media is live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube, Odyssey, Rock from Rumble, and Twitch. Again, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. And be sure to subscribe to us on all of our platforms. And be sure to double check and triple check that you're still subscribed, because unfortunately, YouTube likes to play the screw around game and unsubscribe people, and it's not real cash money. So there we go. Also, by the way, if you haven't subscribed to our other YouTube channel, Chicago Corner, please do so. It's live every Tuesday and Friday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time as well. Again, where you got some great stuff happening. And if you aren't aware of it, we also recently have a TV show that will be available on Can TV. So if you live in the Chicagoland area, you get some more Chicago content here at the 99 Perspective Studios. So there we go. By the way, if you want to help out Hard Lens Media even further, please consider being a patron supporter. By being a patron supporter, you're keeping us alive. And for that, we just can't thank you enough. So let's pull up this awesome list of patron supporters. We got Brian Rossrock. We got Boris Petrochev. We got Christine M. Suzo. We got Bree Hood, Sizzy Kizzy, Oliver Wendt, Gilbert Gilanis. We got Lana Henderson, Troy Inksy Red Precarian. There we go. And then we also got Donna Maring and Ro Tono. So thank you so much for being our wonderful patron supporters. Seriously, we can't thank you enough. And if I'm saying your name wrong, private message me. Tell me how to say it properly, so that way it's done. Because again, we can't thank you guys enough for all your support. So we got a great show lined up for all of you. Give a huge shout to my tech presidency or phase for manning the board. We also got our moderators keeping the peace. So that's something that we have that is going on right here at the studio here for Hard Lens Media. So with that being said, let's get started with our first segment of the day. Over the weekend, AOC made a very interesting video, and it was shared by The Hill, of course. Now, before we play this video, I think, look, audience, we've covered this on the show so many times about corruption in Washington, D.C. The evidence is very clear. We have a corrupt system. It's not only Hard Lens Media that's talking about it. Jimmy Dore has brought it up, Revolutionary Blackout Network, and so many other independent media networks have done this. Jackson Hinkle, Frank Analysis, Convo Couch. We got Nico House. We got so many people who have shined a light on the fact that, yes, we live in a corrupt system. Now, early on, I was a little bit idealistic. I thought that maybe, who knows, we could see a rise of progressives and maybe the audacity of hope of, I know, controversial statement, maybe somehow progressives could change things in Washington, D.C. Well, we've seen it firsthand that progressives in the Democratic Party cannot ever reform the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party, just like the Republican Party, it's corrupt. You can't salvage it. It has leaders and donors that have single mindset, and that is to line their pockets, make sure that their family, friends, and anyone else that's working with them are taken care of. These politicians in Washington, D.C., both Democrat and Republicans, have gold-plated health care, six-figure salaries, and other wonderful social benefits. Washington, D.C. is a swamp. And I know Trump once said that he was going to drain the swamp. That man couldn't drain the swamp, even if his life depended on it. Because let's face it, let's not forget during the first Republican primary debate, when Trump was on stage, it was the first time ever anyone was being honest during a presidential debate. When the conversation about money and politics came to the forefront of that debate, Trump said, I give these people money and they do what I say. Not only Republicans, it's Democrats. So I want to pull up this video here of AOC speaking to the people about, well, how hard it is to be a normal person in Washington, D.C. Let's play this video.
It's just really wild to be a person that works in a corrupt institution, which is what Congress is. And to try and be a normal person surrounded by so much decay and moral emptiness that frankly transcends party is very difficult. I was up until 5 o'clock in the morning last night. I could not sleep thinking about those babies. It's just really wild to be a person that works in a corrupt institution, which is what Congress is. And to try and be a normal person.
All right, the video is going to be repeating itself with a few short seconds. There we go. All right, folks. So we'll probably bring up that video one more time, but I just found it interesting that AOC is talking about how hard it is to be a normal person to work in that corrupt institution. If we can rewind back the clocks to when AOC was a candidate in 2018, her and a few other progressives that were running made the promise that they were going to raise the ruckus. Now, look, to be fair, I understand politician can only do so much. But these promises were made. And at first, it looked like something was going to happen. But then things started to calm down, slow down, and begin to stagnate. We saw AOC and a lot of these other progressives, most notably everyone in the Congressional Progressive Caucus, fall in line with the Democratic establishment. Defend the Democratic leadership. Turn a blind eye to what happened in 2016 primary, even though, to be fair, but look, Bernie Sanders, he ignored it. But even ignore everything that was taking place during the 2020 Democratic primary, where, again, Democratic leadership, the DNC establishment, they weren't being called out. And when push came to shove, the entire Congressional Progressive Caucus, including AOC, went to bat for then candidate Joe Biden, one of the architects to this neoliberal nightmare that we're in. He's one of the few of many architects that built this system that we're living in. The same AOC who ignored forced to vote, the March for Medicare for All, the General 3-Day Strike Summit meeting, didn't really push back when the $15 minimum wage was, again, shot down by 2 Democratic senators. Dare I say it, 8 Democratic senators. The same AOC who said that Biden exceeded expectations. I understand that it's difficult being a normal person in Washington, D.C., because that area is completely corrupt. But what were you expecting? And are you expecting some kind of sympathy from the people? Because right now, a lot of Americans can't sleep because they're working 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet, or either that, they've been evicted from their homes and apartments. Remember that infamous celebration? Thankfully, Frank Analysis caught that film, and it should forever be ingrained in people's minds. They were doing a little dance, thinking like, oh, somehow they won. But let's be very clear. Mama Bear, Nancy Pelosi, was the one that adjourned Congress. And then they did that little protest, AOC and Cori Bush. And did anything happen? No. We're still seeing people being evicted. We're still seeing people being kicked out of their homes and apartments. We're still seeing small businesses being shut down. So look, I understand that it's difficult to be in Washington, D.C. But try explain that to people in my audience or any other average citizen right now that is wondering, where's the leadership at? See, the Democrats, AOC, that you've gone to bat for, could have codified Roe v. Wade. They could have done something about all this gun violence that we're seeing. They could have done something for Medicare for all. Biden right now, through executive order, can again legalize cannabis, pardon student debt, and make Medicare for all happen, but he's not going to do it. Maybe it's your conscience that's finally waking you up and you got to break out of the 2-party system. Maybe you're realizing it now. Or maybe not. But that video, it's going to fall on deaf ears, but I think it's very clear. I want to play it again one more time for our audience. So, Faith, if we can, I'd like to pull that video up just one more time.
It's just really wild to be a person that works in a corrupt institution, which is what Congress is. And to try and be a normal person surrounded by so much decay and moral emptiness that frankly transcends party is very difficult. I was up until 5 o'clock in the morning last night. I could not sleep thinking about those babies.
All right, let's pause it here. Yeah. So there we go. And that was just that little clip right there. Again, I'm enraged at the fact. I'm trying to be calm and composed here, but what are you expecting from Washington, D.C. when you have people like Dianne Feinstein, who, if she gets reelected, she'll be 91 years old. You got Nancy Pelosi, who's in her mid-80s. You got Chuck Schumer. You've got Turtle Boy Mitch McConnell. You got Joe Biden. You got all these politicians who are just so old and lack imagination. It's no wonder the entire environment is corrupt. Is your conscience finally catching up to you? Because these politicians won't do anything. They'll talk and talk and talk. You know, I'm looking here in the live stream chat. Someone in here mentioned, it's Lee Lemon who says, they did raise the ruckus against anyone who criticized them. Because here's the thing. I think right now there's a lot of people who want to no longer engage themselves in politics. So good luck, Democrats, especially AOC and everyone else at the Congressional Progressive Caucus, to get people to turn out to vote, especially for this midterm election cycle. We got rising inflation. Politicians aren't doing anything. We got unchecked corruption. Politicians aren't doing anything. We got money for war, $40 billion for Ukraine. No money for us. I'm still wondering, politicians, Democrats and Republicans, how are we going to pay for that? That $40 billion. I mean, right now, there's a lot of people hurting at the pumps. You know, I've been hearing, and there's been recent reports coming out too, that gas, especially in certain parts of the country, is going to reach $7, and dare I say it, maybe even pass it. What's it, $8, $9, $10 at the pump? I mean, at Chicago, I passed by one gas station where it's $5. And what are our politicians doing? Nothing. And name any other issue that's happening here. So I think, it's very interesting that you can't sleep. But if you're having a hard time sleeping, maybe you should wake up to the fact of what's going on around you. And maybe when you get some criticism from progressives and independents that want to see you do something, maybe don't say that's violence or watch your words or watch your tone. People are going to be angry. And if things don't fundamentally change, I promise you this, people will get even angrier. And they will not want to listen to some politician, be they Democrat or Republican, about, this is why you need to vote for Team Red or Team Blue because my team cares about you. Let's have democracy in the chat. Type 1 if you have confidence for these politicians, that you think that they're going to do the right thing. Type 2 if you're tired of all this BS from them and that you want something more. Right. With that being said, before we end the full this segment here, whatever man mentions this too. Don't forget, Kit. AOC voted for Pelosi. Omar Rana Fraud Squad has earned their name. Let's see. Who else do we have here? I just want to acknowledge a few other people. Carlos Von Chang says, Biden does exceed expectations. He stands up and groans and walks, and his sentences, however garbled, do end in a period. See, that's funny here, too. See, I love our audience. You guys are great. And let's see. I just want to acknowledge just a few more people here. You guys are great. Illinois AOC will just scapegoat the voters again. And then Tangled Umpla says, nice try, AOC. It's called LARPing, you goon. And Of course, Tony Clifton here in the chat mentions this as well. Even if Medicare for All was passed, Biden said he would veto it. And then another person says, she should quit and then give someone else a chance. Here we go. All right. That being said, as a final note for this story, Democrats, progressives in the Congressional Progressive Caucus, you're not going to get any kind of sympathy from anybody. We're going to move on now to our next segment. Before we do, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that ring bell notification. We also got a YouTube super chat from Mahmoud Muradi. Thank you so much for the super chat. We do appreciate it, especially everything that's happening right now. We do appreciate all the support. Please consider being a patron supporter as well. You can find the links to Patreon, Rockfin, Odyssey, Rumble, and Twitch in the description box below. That way you can subscribe to us on those other platforms so that, in case YouTube does anything, you can find us on the other video platforms. So there we go. And again, shout out to our moderators for keeping the peace. All of you, we love you so much. So there we go. All right, with that being said, let's get started with our next segment of the day. Ryan Grimm and Jimmy Dore. So over the weekend, Ryan Grimm had this big brain, fantastic idea of trying to smear Jimmy Dore. So, FaZe, let's get that video ready. But before we play it, I just want to put in context here so that everyone understands what we're going to be talking about, especially with this whole weird thread that Ryan Grimm posted. So before we play the video, I'm just going to read the tweet. You don't have to show it because you can find the links in the description box for the show notes. What's perhaps the most incredible about this Jimmy Dore video is that he clearly misunderstood Sirota's joke. It's an article critical of Biden's Medicare premium hike, and he writes, why did Susan Sarandon do this? He thinks Sirota is attacking Susan Sarandon, to which I have to say, no. Jimmy Dore is not. Jimmy Dore is a professional comedian. For Christ's sakes, Ryan Grimm, you're going to go after somebody, go after them for their, something else. I mean, the man knows jokes. Okay, I've been to plenty of Jimmy Dore's shows. Seen the Jimmy Dore show numerous times. I've been to a lot of comedy shows in my lifetime. But you're missing the mark. And again, you're choosing not to play the full video in its whole context. So let's play this video. Again, this is from Ryan Grimm that he clipped out, wrongly smearing Jimmy.
I wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton, with same reason why I shouldn't have voted for Barack Obama. Because Barack Obama was going to do the exact same shit that John McCain and Mitt Romney were going to do, but he was going to put you to sleep so you wouldn't bind. And that's exactly what happened. Barack Obama kicked 5.1 million people out of their houses while he bailed out the banks. Barack Obama took us from 2 wars to 7. Barack Obama tortured Chelsea Manning. Barack Obama built those cages, deported more Hispanics and Mexicans and Latin Americans than all the presidents combined since 1890. This is the shit that Barack Obama did. Barack Obama promised us a public option. We didn't get it. By the way, Joe Biden also promised us a public option. He was against Medicare for all, but for public option. Where is it? You ain't never getting it. In fact, you're going to lose Medicare by voting for this guy. But guys like this are going to keep telling you to do that because he gets paid when you vote for him. That's why. His wife gets paid when Democrats stay in power. His wife is an elected Democrat. Of course. So if you keep listening to guys like this who get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to keep you inside the Democratic Party, you're going to keep being poorer and broker. Or if you listen to Shama Sawant, who actually has integrity, unlike this guy, she'll tell you the truth, unlike this guy. And the truth is, the road for progressives inside the Democratic Party leads to a graveyard and less Medicare, less Social Security, more war, and lower wages. That's what voting for this fucking guy does. And this guy's telling you that because he makes money off it and doesn't give a shit how fucking broken you are. Because he makes hundreds of thousands of dollars every fucking year off of Bernie Sanders' campaign, off of all kinds of bullshit that you have no idea about, and he'll never feel the pain of this Medicare cut. He'll never feel the pain of your Social Security cut. He doesn't give a shit if we have a $15 minimum wage or not. He'll never feel the pain of any of it, which is why he's comfortable enough to tell you to keep voting and doing the exact same thing. He's telling you to punch yourself in your fucking face. That's what they're telling you.
Okay, so first of all, again, Jimmy Dore's on point with that video because, first of all, hell's the Democratic Party, right? But context matters. Context definitely matters. So, we're going to play this video, but I'm going to read the tweet in the video first, right? So, it says, and a quote, you know, there we go. It says, Ryan Grimm deceptively edited my video and does an entire thread based on a lie that I didn't get the joke. Which, again, Jimmy Dore is a professional comedian here, folks. He knows what to do, all right? He knows the environment. He knows that's his backyard. David Sirota's strong tweet. See? He's making a good joke, but then David is going to tell you to vote for the MFer. Hashtag Grimjob. So let's play the video. It's just going to be a few short seconds just so we can get context of what led into that other larger video that was being played. So let's play it.
Hell, David Sirota, strong tweet. David Sirota, strong tweet. He says, why did Susan Sarandon do this? You see, he's making that's a good joke. But then David Sirota is going to tell you to go vote for this motherfucker.
Right. David.
So this is a guy who's a schizophrenic at best and just a bullshitter at worst because he's going to tell you to vote for this guy. He's already doing it. Hell.
All right, so let's pause it here.
David Sirota.
So that's what led to the original 2-minute video that we saw playing earlier. So what's going on here? Well, we're going to pull up another tweet here. But just to get context here, Ryan Grimm has been invited to be on the Jimmy Dore show, to which, you know, Ryan Grimm refuses to respond. Ryan Grimm refuses to engage with Jimmy Dore, but more than happy to go on other shows and start smearing Jimmy, you know, putting him in a bad light. But at the end of the day, is Jimmy Dore wrong about criticizing the Democratic Party? Because I think we've seen all these people carry water for the Democrats, say that we gotta vote blue, we gotta vote for the other guy because the Republicans are fascists. Look, both parties are the same, and I don't care if you're a diehard Republican voter or a diehard Democratic voter. Unfortunately, you're a very good puppet if you believe that voting Democrat or voting Republican is somehow going to make your life better. You are not their number one constituent. The number one constituents to the two-party system, the people like Biden and Trump, which again, there's no difference between the two. They're both the same. They were both the same. They're both deplorable individuals who shouldn't even have the right to run for president. But yet, hey, we live in a neoliberal system. Both of those individuals and the parties that they represent, their number one constituents are lobby groups, corporations, the top 1%, big bankers, anyone that's got money, because the Supreme Court legalized bribery. I know AOC's having a hard time sleeping because, oh, it's so corrupt, Congress. The whole system is corrupt. And Jimmy Dore's been calling it out, especially after the 2016 election. And it's okay for Jimmy and a lot of other people to be upset. They have a right to be upset, as do all of you. All of you have a right to be upset. Are our lives getting better because of the Democrats? No. You got Biden in office, and yet he says he can't do anything. Through executive order, he could, again, make cannabis legal, pardon student debt, get us Medicare for all, but he won't do it. Why? Because his whole entire political career was against any progressive policy, anything to make your lives or future generations' lives easier. But yet people like Ryan Grimm, David Sirota, TYT, Majority Report, all these people will tell you, you gotta vote blue because we gotta stop Trump. See, Trump isn't the problem. He's the symptom. He's the rash indicating that something's wrong with the body politics of America. And that's what Jimmy Dore's been calling out. And Ryan Grimm and a lot of other people are still upset with it, still butthurt that, again, for this point in time, Jimmy Dore and a lot of other independent media networks have been correct, not just right, correct in calling out the Democrats, correct in calling out their hypocrisy, and correct in calling out the hypocritical progressives in the Democratic Party. People like Bernie and AOC, who carry water for these politicians who don't do anything for them in return. Bernie and AOC get slapped in the face by the Democratic establishment and they just say thank you. I want to pull up this tweet here as well. I think that might not be it, but I think it might be the third link that we have to pull up. It's with Jimmy Dore. Another lie. The reason why I wasn't able to invite Ryan Grimm on the show was because he blocked me, which you conveniently left out of your tweet. You are welcome on my show anytime. but when you were asked to come on my show by other podcasters, you said you were afraid. I remember that. Do you? And it has to deal with the fact that, when Ryan Grimm saying just went to DM and remembered that while he was telling his audience I was scared of him, he ignored my response at the time that I'd answer any questions he had on his show. If you watch his show, he has nothing but contempt for you. That's what Ryan Grimm is saying. But which again, I'm going to reread this tweet from Jimmy. Another lie. The reason why I wasn't able to invite Ryan Grimm on the show was because he blocked me. So Ryan Grimm, you blocked Jimmy. So here's the deal. Ryan, go on Jimmy Dore's show. If you really think you can do a toe-to-toe slug match, a verbal slug match with Jimmy, go on Jimmy Dore's show. Don't just do this little Twitter thread and say, Jimmy Dore just has contempt for his audience. Here's the thing. Jimmy Dore's been speaking truth to his audience about how corrupt our system is. And there's a reason why people are starting to, again, break away from the Democratic Party, but also break away from anyone that's telling us, you got to vote Democrat or even vote Republican. Because the politicians don't like us. They don't respect us. They don't think about us. And with all of that presented before us, why? At any point in time, as us as voters go crawling back to vote for a Democrat or a Republican. These politicians deserve to be criticized, including the progressives in the Democratic Party. Jimmy Dore's been doing it. He's been shining a light on them. Forced to vote. Now, let's be very clear here. There's people like Ryan Graham, Cenk Uygur, and Sammy Boy Cedar, and a whole other people who are against forced to vote. They kept saying, if we do forced to vote, if we don't vote for Nancy Pelosi, somehow McCarthy's going to become the new Speaker of the House, which was a lie. Or either that, it'll never work. We got to keep our powder dry so that the Democrats can be ready the next time to put Medicare for all on the House floor for a vote. Here's the thing. If the progressives were successful enough in actually twisting Nancy's little haggard arm to actually put Medicare for all on the House floor for a vote, it would have shined a light on the heartless Democratic and Republican politicians that would not give their constituents, their citizens, Medicare for all at the height of a pandemic. It also shined light on how hypocritical the entire system is. Can you imagine the political ammunition that the progressives could have used against these politicians? Medicare for all, it's a progressive policy, but it's popular amongst, Democratic voters, progressive voters, conservative voters, Republican voters, libertarian voters, green voters, socialist voters. It's a universal, popular policy in America. So at the end of the day, it's just another smear, another hit towards Jimmy Dore. But hey, Jimmy Dore can take the hits. He's from Chicago. And at the end of the day, when we look at this entire chain of events where you have people fighting for the Democrats, know this. Anyone that's telling you to vote blue no matter who, vote Democrat, they're comfortable. Anyone that's going to tell you to vote for a Democrat or even a Republican that has a blue check mark, they're comfortable. They have everything set for them. But they want to make sure that their team wins because it's all about perception and driving their point of view. Don't listen to these people that tell you got to vote Democrat because that's the only option. Don't listen to anyone that's going to tell you to vote Republican because, they care about values. They don't. It's one sick game, and it's one big club. You ain't in it. This is why we need independent media. This is why we need people like Jimmy Dore. This is why we need people like Frank Analysis, Hard Lens Media. You need people like Chicago Corner. You need the entire crew of Revolutionary Blackout Network, the Convo Couch, the Mikasu Casa Network, and so many others. And I'm going to say this here on this show, too. I continue my call for more citizen journalists to step up. Because what we have right now isn't working. We need more people to start speaking truth to power. Because we owe these politicians and all their little blue checkmark cheerleaders not a goddamn thing. That being said, we're going to move on now to our next segment. Before we do, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that ring bell notification. That way you know when we do go live. So because YouTube likes to screw us over, see, we got an awesome audience here joining us here as well. By the way, we're going to do an impromptu democracy in the chat, there we go. So just to build up context. Jimmy Dore will be coming to Chicago sometime next month, so we're looking forward to that. Have all of you had a chance to see the Jimmy Dore show? If you haven't, be sure to check it out because he's on tour all across the United States. So type 3 if you're going to the Jimmy Dore show, or type 4 if hey, I haven't checked yet. So there you go. You gotta make sure you check. All right, there you go. It's impromptu democracy. There's no wrong answer. Go check out it'll be fun. It'll be fun. So there we go. And again, I do want to acknowledge some people here in the live stream chat too as well. Shout out to Miguel H. and Gamer for Life, one of our moderators. Tony Clifton gave us a $3 super chat. Thank you so much for the YouTube super chat. If you want to help us out even further, please consider using the Streamlab link because YouTube takes about 30%, 25% of what you send us, and Streamlab only takes 2%. So there you go. In fact, Face, hey, let's show them the awesome StreamYards graphic. Can we show them that? I know. It's been such a long time. I know. I'm putting FaZe on the spot. What? No! Oh, no!
It's still there. We just don't have one.
Oh, no! Oh, no! There we go! Yes! All right, FaZe. It's the last minute. I was going to say FaZe was last minute FaZe, but FaZe was the last minute save. Okay. See, I caught my stutter right there. But see, that's okay. Hey, don't worry. We got our last. Say that 3 times fast. FaZe was the last minute save. FaZe was the last minute save. FaZe was the last minute save. There you go. I did it. And let's go and play that graphic one more time. Was Congress being dropped in the volcano? Look at that. Isn't that great? Congress being dropped in a volcano. There we go. So, hey, I'm seeing we got like 200 plus people here in the live stream chat. Mandatory thumbs up for FaZe because let me tell you something. Him and Daniel have built a lot of stuff here in the studio, so make it happen. So there you go. Let's volcanoes everywhere. So that's awesome. All right. So now with our next story of the day, and before we pull this article up. We have politicians who are in their 80s going on to their 90s in office. Some of these politicians have never used a freaking cell phone. They don't even know how to use the internet. They're from an era that's long since gone. Some of these politicians precede boomers. And look, I know we have a diverse audience of boomers, Gen Xers, millennials, Gen Z. This generation in Congress, the silent generation, whatever you want to call them, have done more harm to all of us, have imposed more draconian policies upon us than any other Congress, any other generation in human history, especially in America. These politicians, people like Dianne Feinstein, they hold on to power just to hold on to power. I mean, not to be ageist here, but when you're in your 80s, going on to your 90s, what more can you do? Sometimes it's okay to bow on out and leave the stage. But for a lot of these politicians, quoting Tulsi Gabbard here, Congress is like high school. You got politicians who never really truly developed their brains. And so you have these greedy bastards who are in office, who have no right to be in office, ruling over us. So I'm going to pull up this article here. So it's a mainstream media source, but well, a former Dianne Feinstein staffer insisted that keeping the diminished 88-year-old in office is better than a junior California senator. Okay. Let's breathe that in here for a second, right? So Dianne Feinstein is the oldest sitting senator in American history. And by the way, there was a situation where Dianne Feinstein was being interviewed, and she sometimes forgot the questions and depended on an aide to help her recall the details. So, in an interview published Monday in The Cut, Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein of California sometimes forgot questions posed to her and depended heavily on an aide to help her recall key details. This is a politician that's dictating policies towards us. She's 88. She's 88. Look. When you're in your 80s like this, sometimes, you know what, you just... This is elder abuse. And look, let's face it, Dianne Feinstein is probably a scumbag politician, but this is abuse towards average citizens. This is extremely abusive to the constituents that Dianne Feinstein represents. They have someone who doesn't know where the hell she is. Sorry. But one former staffer who spoke anonymously to the outlet insisted that despite the 88-year-old senator's apparent shortcomings, she's still able to get more done than a younger, more recently elected senator could. What? What world are you talking about? How is this possible? Things can't be that bad in Washington, D.C., where we have to rely on these 88-year-olds, 90-year-old politicians. It can't be that bad. Part of the notion, again, according to this source, this former staffer, is based on her seniority. Feinstein is the oldest member of the chamber, and once Democratic Senator Pat Lee of Vermont officially retires in January, she will become the longest-serving Democratic senator currently in office. If we lost her seniority, every other state benefits from California not having a seniority because of our appropriations are so much larger, Ken Milman, her 2018 campaign manager, told The Cut. Feinstein is known to be heavily reliant on staff to perform her duties as senator. If she's so reliant on them, she's got to go. She's got to go. Faze, just a random question. You could just give me a thumbs up or thumbs down, right? Let's say we're hosting the show and I'm relying on like 8 or 10 other people to tell me the story and it's live on air or before we go live and I'm forgetting everything and I'm just like a complete mess. Would you have absolute confidence in me running this show? There we go. Simple. Simple as that. Simple as that. So in the phone interview with columnist Rebecca Transfer, Feinstein sometimes trailed off and relied on communications director Tom Mercer to help. I've seen this before. You know, with my grandma, my uncle, Bernard, and then also with my great-grandma. You know, they got to a certain age, they would ramble on and on and on and forget what they were talking about. So, here's a direct quote. Everything has become more partisan than it was when I came to the Senate. When I came to the Senate, Bob Dole was the leader. Bob Dole was the leader, and he stood up and said, "What was it? Tom, help me. What was the quote?" That's what she's telling one of her staffers. What is the quote? She also appeared to forget the year that the 1994 assault weapons ban, one of her key legislative accomplishments, was enacted. Insider asked Democratic Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer in April whether he still has confidence in Feinstein's ability to serve in the upper chamber, given a recent report from the San Francisco Chronicle raising fresh questions about her cognitive decline. He conspicuously declined to answer the question, and his office declined to respond to requests for comments seeking clarification. "I've had a good number of discussions with Senator Feinstein, but I'm keeping them to myself," he said in his weekly press conference. 4 sitting senators told the Chronicle that they'd observed the rapid deterioration of Feinstein's cognitive abilities, and a Democratic House member of California said they had to reintroduce themselves to Feinstein multiple times during single hours-long conversation earlier this year. Who are you again? Who are you again? Who are you again? That's Dianne Feinstein, a sitting U.S. senator. This isn't to be ageist, but she's not fit for the job. And there's a lot of politicians like her in Washington, D.C. They may not be as old as her, but they're getting up there. Dare I say it, it's time for some age limits. It's time for term limits for a lot of these politicians. Now, to be fair, she's in her decline. We're seeing Biden go through the same thing too. I mean, there's no debate about it. Biden is having some cognitive issues as well. That's not a debate. These are facts. We're seeing him stutter and stammer all over the place. I want to pull up this next tweet right here that we have in the chat. And it has to deal with the fact that, again, Feinstein recently got this wonderful little propaganda piece about her. I'm just going to read a little bit of the Twitter thread. We could focus on a little bit of it. But here it is. Over the course of 52 years in elected office, dying 52 freaking years. 52 years! During that 52 years in office, Feinstein, let's keep it up there for a second. Feinstein, how come you and the Democrats didn't really push to codify Roe v. Wade? What, it wasn't convenient enough? Dianne Feinstein believes she could use the system, this neoliberal system, for good, despite everything she still does. So let's scroll down, and we're going to see this wonderful little picture of her. Now, she looks like Emperor Palpatine in it. I shouldn't have said that. FaZe, don't you laugh. FaZe, keep it together there, buddy. None of you laugh either. But she does look like Palpatine. All right, I'm just saying, like, you know, everyone that's against the Empire will soon bow to the dark side of the Force. Wipe them out, all of them. The Jedi must die. Hold on, wait, one more. Now, young Skywalker, you will die. I'm a horrible. I know I'm a horrible person. I'm sorry. All right, continuing on. We're going to see like something like night and day. Feinstein's career in American politics was born in the upheaval of the mid-20th century struggles for greater civil rights, which there's before and after. Hey, you know, I'm not one to talk because I don't know how I'm going to look when I'm that age, you know. But it's almost like Palpatine before he got hit with the lightning in Revenge of the Sith, you know. There you go. Anyways, continuing on. There was conviction that Feinstein's rising generation of Democrats, more diverse than any that had preceded, would be the stewards of those hard-won victories. Again, this is like a soft piece about her. Feinstein is now both the definition of American political establishment and personification of the inroads women made over the last 50 years, which I have to say, ladies, choose a better champion. This ain't it. This ain't it. Again, there's a whole Twitter thread for it, but this is like this article that was written about her is just like a flattering piece. It's propaganda 101. I actually want to pull up the audience, see what's going on here. Thank you all. I do appreciate some of the wonderful comments. But now I want to rewind time, not too far. This was, I believe, sometime in 2018. We're just going to play just a few short minutes of this video, but I think it's only fair to really see Feinstein interact with younger people, especially about the dangers of climate change. Because at the end of the day, look, someone in her condition should not be in office, but we cannot forget that people like Feinstein, both in the Democratic and Republican Party, are scumbags. And they don't really care what regular people think. Don't believe me? Watch this video.
We're standing up, we're asking for the new Green Deal.
We're trying to present this letter that we've made to Senator Feinstein.
We
are trying to ask you to vote yes on the Green New Deal.
Please.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We have our own Green New Deal piece of legislation.
Well, we're trying to promote the Green New Deal.
Well, there are reasons why I can't, because there's no way to pay for it.
Yes, there is.
We have tons of money.
Remember, $40 billion to Ukraine. No questions about that. How are we going to pay for it? Now, of course, this was a few years before this devastating conflict was taking place in Ukraine, but I'm just saying, you know, climate change, or we have no idea how we're going to pay for it. $40 billion for war? $1 trillion for a joint strike fighter that doesn't even work right? Oh, yeah, we got that. Don't ask questions of how we're going to pay for that. So, again, scumbag politician right there, and she's a liar. She's not some pioneer or some great hero, because if she really wanted to do some good, she would have done it decades ago when she first got into office. Hell, she could have been a firebrand. She could have been a hellraiser. But let's face it, when you go to Washington, D.C., it's a corrupt system. Remember, AOC's losing sleep about it right now. She's like, it's hard to be a normal person in such a corrupt environment. Let's play the rest of the video.
We're going to the military. A lot of us are going to the military.
But we have come to a point where our earth is dying, literally, and it is going to be a pricey and ambitious plan that is needed to deal with the magnitude of that issue. And so we're here asking you to vote yes on the resolution for the Green New Deal, because that is the only
That resolution will not pass the Senate, and you can take that back to whoever sent you here.
Some scientists have said that we have 12 years to turn this around.
Well, it's not going to get turned around in 10 years. What we can do,
Senator, if
is
this
put
doesn't get turned around
ourselves-
in 10 years, you're looking at the face.
Right? We'll just play just one more minute of this video. But look, you have these young people going to the center saying, please help us. Please, you have the power to do something. Here's Dianne Feinstein saying, I can't do anything for you kids. It can't be turned around in 10 years. I'll be dead, so I don't give a crap. That's Dianne Feinstein. She doesn't care. And you think if she ever really did truly care, she'd retire by now. Yes, I'm going to bring that up. Retire. Same thing like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She should have retired if everyone's so freaked out about the Supreme Court. But you got politicians, justices, you got politicians at the state and federal level that are so greedy, so arrogant, so emotionally immature. They have no idea what it means to give up power because they don't have what it takes. Let's play one more video of it.
Faces of the people who are going to be living with these consequences.
The government is supposed to be for the people and by the people and all
You know
for the
what's
people.
interesting about this group is I've been doing this for 30 years. I know what I'm doing. You come in here
To hell with
and you say it has to be my way or the highway. I don't respond to that. I've gotten elected.
Let's
I
pause it
just
here.
ran.
Let's hear. Let's end this right here. All right. So you can check out the full video, but that's the arrogance and how scummy and disgusting these politicians are. First of all, Dianne Feinstein, Senator Feinstein. My name's Kit, by the way. Let me reintroduce myself. My name's Kit. That's my friend FaZe. This is my audience. And we want to remind you and you scumbag politicians that you're public servants and that you work for us, not the other way around. So it is our highway. It is our way. You are not some self-appointed lord or queen. And the thing is, you have the Democratic establishment backing you up. Do we really have democracy in this republic? Probably not, because again, somehow you, an elected official, 52 years in office, nothing fundamentally changed. And you're only into power right now because of your unchecked ego. 88 years old. She gets reelected, she'll be 91 in the U.S. Senate. She's declining. She's got to go. She has to resign. Simple as that. And she doesn't care about future generations. She doesn't care about you. She doesn't care about your family, your friends, anyone else in your social group. She doesn't care. She only cares about herself because of her unchecked ego. FaZe, if we can, there's one more link I think we need to bring up here. And if we could scroll down, I think we'll see the picture. Because this is the article. Oh, wait, it is? There we go. Let's focus on that. Now, this is I'm not going to read the article because it's nothing more than a wonderful soft piece, but there we go. That's the person who's been in office for 52 years. Unchecked corruption, neoliberalism at its finest. For whatever good she has ever done in office, know this. She's turned a blind eye numerous times the amount of evil that is happening in Washington, D.C., the amount of corruption that's happening in Washington, D.C. That's what happens to you when you let absolute power consume you. When you swim in the swamp that is Washington, D.C., that's what will happen to you. You cannot reform a system that has been governing over us that was built by people like her. That's not democracy. And if she really had any dignity, she would have retired and resigned years ago. But that's why it's up to us to build that better future. Because people like her lack the imagination, the heart, or the soul to do the right thing. That being said, we're going to be ending the show. I want to thank all of you so much for joining us here. Again, Heartlands Media is live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube, Odyssey, Rockfin, Rumble, and Twitch. Be sure to subscribe to Chicago Corner as well so you can know what's happening in that city right behind me. Heartlands Media and Chicago Corner are also now on Can TV as well. Check out World Perspectives Radio. Check out 99perspectives.tv. We also got something on Rockfin. Let's acknowledge Rockfin here real quick. Roger Meadows tipped $2. I'm definitely for term limits, but not necessarily age limits, but I am open to after a certain age, regular full medical and psych evaluations made public so the voters can decide. Feinstein, how are we going to pay for it? Time to start educating the public about Congress and Treasury Secretary coinage power vested in them by the Constitution. Taxes not needed. Hey, Dianne Feinstein, your donors tell you my way or the highway. Again, Roger Meadows speaking truth to power. There we go. All right, again, thank you so much for the Rockfin Super Chat. Again, so grateful for all of our viewing audience. Thank you so much to our moderators keeping the peace. Give a huge shout out to our tech priest and Sincere Face for manning the board. My name's Kit Cabell, the host of Heartlands Media. Peace to you guys, and let us all do what we can to build a better future. Take care.